In today's video, I'm going to test whether the VersaCraft Tomoe ink pad set will bleed on the Hobonichi planner paper. Let's go! I purchased this VersaCraft Tomoe ink pad set to make it easier for myself to add stamp elements to my planner pages. This is what the packaging looks like. They are fingertip size and they help apply ink precisely to smaller stamps. This set is the 407 modern set and it contains 4 ink pads in a clear container plus label stickers for each color. I first featured this on an Instagram reel earlier this month and someone in the comment section asked, would you be able to test these on TRP? First, I had to find out what TRP stood for, and it's Tomoe River paper, which is the paper used in Hobonichi planners. And it so happened that I had just purchased a Hobonichi Techo A5 cousin. And so here we are. Earlier in September, I had purchased this BGM My Life Clear Stamp set from a books and stationery store called Kinokuniya here in Sydney. I love it as it has lots of self-care stamps that I can add to my planner pages to help prompt me to look after myself. I also purchased this small clear acrylic block to help me place the clear stamps on my planner pages. I'll be testing the ink on the Hobonichi Weeks 2024 planner. I have attached a sticky label to let me know the name of the paper, and this Hobonichi Weeks one is the Tomoe River paper. I've cut a small piece of 160 GSM weighted paper as a backing, so if it does bleed through the Tomoe River paper, I can see how much it does bleed through. The other planner I have is this Hobonichi A5 cousin, and the paper on this one is the Tomoe River S paper. Now very briefly, the Tomoe River paper that's in the Hobonichi Weeks has been discontinued by the paper manufacturer, and the Tomoe River S is what's replaced it. Tomoe paper is named after the manufacturer Tomogawa Paper, and the S for the new paper stands for Zanzen, the new paper manufacturer. You can read more about it on the official Hobonichi Techo website, which I'll link below. So the Tomoe River S paper claims to be more resistant to bleed through, and it has the same thinness but even more lightweight than the original. So let's go and see. I added sticky labels for this ink test because first I'm too scared to make the first pen or marker writing on it. Plus, I will do a pen test video later on, so I'll do some test writing in that video. Okay, let's get started. Let's first start on the original Tomoe River paper, and I'll be testing the Tomoe ink with the 4 colors from the modern set: black, blue, red and yellow. Now I'm going to use this cute kitty cat stamp, so I only make small stamp in case I stuff things up with the bigger stamp. First I'm going to place this self-adhesive stamp on the acrylic block. I'm going to use this grid palm card to stamp off any excess ink in between each color. Stamp off any ink from a previous stamp, and let's get started with the black color first. As mentioned earlier, each stamp is fingertip sized and each ink pad has a 14mm in diameter soft cushy sponge. I'm going to lightly dab some color on the surface of the stamp. Now please be mindful, I have used stamps very minimally in the past and yet to get used to the correct stamping best practices. So be kind if you do see something that may not be right. Now I know I probably have put on a bit too much ink for this first application, but we'll just go along with it. And now for the moment of truth, my very first marking on my new Hobonichi Weeks planner. Oh, I'm scared. Now I'm sure not only is there a bit too much ink, but also that I pressed too hard and it squished the stamp on the paper and made the outline a bit thicker. See, learning as we go. Now make sure if you are liking this video or learning something new like I am, click that thumbs up button to let me know you are enjoying this video. Let's test the blue one. Then the red. I'll have a look at the back once I test the last color, which is this yellow one. Now let's have a look. I can clearly see I need some more practice with my stamping technique, but we're here to look at the bleed through for today. Can you hear my inner thoughts being critical? Okay, first let's see if it bled through to the backup paper. Let me just reduce the brightness so we can see clearer. Okay, right here, some of the yellow has bled through to the backing paper, as well as a bit of the red and the blue where there was a little bit more ink on the tail of the kitty cat. Now let's see the back of the Tomoe River paper. So some bleed through and ghosting. That's when you can see the outline and the color of the stamp on the other side of the page. If you're going to mind having ghosting and a slight bleed through, it's something to consider whether you want to use the Sotomame ink pad and these 4 colors. Make sure you stick to the end because I'll show you what I might do for the pages like this that will have more visible ghosting. So to recap, the Tomoe River paper using these inking stamps will have slight bleed as well as ghosting. It's now time to test it on the Tomoe River S paper. While I swap out the label, if you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, make sure you do. It only takes a couple of seconds, and while you're at it, make sure to hit that bell so you can get notified when I upload my planning and how-to videos. Now it's time to test the ink on my Hobonichi A5 cousin and on the Tomoe River S paper. Now I'll do the colors in the same order as the first one. Hello kitty cat. Now let me up the brightness a little bit again. I also added a 160 GSM weighted paper cut to A5 size as a backing so we can again clearly see if there is going to be any bleed through with this paper. I'm going to fast track through this bit. Now for the red ink, I didn't stamp as hard, and as you can see, the outline of the red kitty cat is a lot cleaner. Let's test the last color. And again, I didn't press the acrylic block too hard on the page, and you can see the difference in the quality of the stamp outline. Now let's see if the ink has bled through to the Tomoe River S paper. Again, I'm just going to dim the brightness. As you can see, there is no bleed through to the backing paper, so that's a plus. And now let's see the back of the Tomoe River S paper. There's no bleed through, and it looks like there's a little bit more ghosting than the Tomoe River paper. But I wonder if this is because the paper on this A5 size is white rather than the cream that's on the Hobonichi Weeks. Let's put the two side by side. So the Tomoe River paper, which was the original paper, has slight bleed through and some ghosting. And the bleed did transfer onto the backing paper. Now on the new version of the Tomoe River S paper, there is no bleed through. But it could also be because maybe I didn't dab too much ink on the stamp. Now what to do if you're not too fond of the ghosting? Now what you can do if you want is use some washi tape to cover it. Now this grid white washi, you can still see some of the ghosting. But with the black grid washi tape, it looks pretty good. Now these grid washi tapes are from Washi Gang. Again, link in the description below. So what's my recommendation? For both the Tomoe River and the Tomoe River S, maybe don't load up your stamp with too much ink from these Sotomame ink pads. Now with that in mind, it is a great ink pad for its ease of use, and it allows you to add ink more precisely on your smaller set stamps. The next thing to do is watch this Hobonichi playlist to see all the fun videos I've been making using my Hobonichi planners. Thanks for watching.